Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tiny Blue Games. My name, of course, is Seesaw Chris, and today we're talking about Wildstar. Now, it's been a little bit since I've made my last video about Wildstar, about 1 or 2 months ago. Since then, they've had their big primal update with a new expedition, new way of advancing your characters past level 50, new dungeon, a whole bunch of new interesting stuff, and we're going to talk about that a bit. But before we do that, I just wanted to talk about Wildstar in general, which is a very interesting topic because, the community, or the gaming community in general, tend to think that Wildstar is already dead, decayed, dying, whatever term you want. And for, the most part, that's kind of true. However, for those of us who actually do play Wildstar, we know that there is a very dedicated group of people who do actively play it, that you can pretty much do any kind of PvE content that you want through looking for groups, through guilds, whatever. Certain areas of the game, such as war plots, happen very infrequently, but can happen maybe if people get together and really force it to happen. And the PvP itself doesn't happen all that frequently, but happens still. So there is certain areas where the game shines, and this update, I guess, really tried to shine a light on those areas. It tried to really push the PvE content further, and it did so with, I would say, a lower amount of resources on Carbine's end, which is very important to them as they're trying to push out as much meaningful content as possible for as cheap as they can to try and keep the game running, which is respectable. I mean, obviously we'd love to see new raids coming in every quarter or something like that, but that's just not feasible of the amount of people playing it. And I think the player base understands that and the developers understand that, which is good. So with that in mind, how does this new patch look? Well, I'll be honest with you, it's been a month and I still haven't played it a ton. That's just because I've been busy with exams and stuff. You know how school is. But I'm almost done my exams, and it's going to be time for me to dive into a lot of this other stuff and get the rust off some of my characters I had in this game. For instance, I'm just playing my engineer through the new expedition, Evil from the Ether, which is a lot of fun. I don't know if it's my favorite expedition, but it's cool anyways. The cinematics are very well done, which is nice, and I always love the intros they do for these expeditions, so I'm a big fan of that. Anyways, it was a good opportunity for me to sort of figure out what my engineer is doing again. I'm going to try and get him a lot better so I can start doing, well, dungeons again, but also get into these prime levels, which, I mean, this video is not really about discussing what the patch is. It's been a month, so I'm assuming most of the people who care about Wildstar know about that. But if they are interested, I'll probably put out an actual video on the patch content once I've played through every last part of it in the next little while here. Because there is actually general interest about Wildstar. I'm sorry if I'm losing my train of thought. This is a ranty video as it is. More me thinking about Wildstar than anything. But I guess what I could share with you guys, and you might know this just from looking at my videos, but I have a bit of a better view of it, is that, I put out a lot of videos for both Guild Wars 2, Wildstar, some Overwatch, some other games that I've played, and I'm not a big channel by any means. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers, so when I say some of my best videos have about between 10,000 to 30,000 views, that's pretty big for me. And my average video will make about 1,000 or 2,000 views over like a year or something like that. So it's very small numbers we're talking about. I do this just for my own fun and interest. But the last video I made for Wildstar, just entitled I Miss Wildstar, is at right now about 10,600 views, and it's only been about 2 months since I've launched it. And what does that tell me? Well, you could argue that my video was just in the right place, right time, which might be true of the new patch that's just come out and all that. But even then, I'm not a big enough channel to really pull that kind of content. For instance, I haven't made Wildstar videos before that video for like at least a year. I'm not a known Wildstar content creator. So what that kind of viewership in that short amount of time tells me is that online there's a lot of people that are interested in Wildstar. They're very interested. And I would be willing to bet that a lot of the people who actually watch that video don't play the game. They've played the game, they've been watching the game, they're looking at the game, seeing if it's worth coming back to, but then they find, they hear that it's still low population, so they're like, no. And it really gets us back to the same conversation I've had so many times over and over again, that if everyone who was interested in Wildstar went and played Wildstar, the population of Wildstar would no longer be an issue. And the issue with that is that you can't have everyone do it at once. That's a huge commitment. You would never be able to organize it. The way the game could do it is if they had a patch and had a big promotion at the same time. And I mean, that's what this patch really did. It gave a whole new content level for a lot of people, and it also had the free character to level 50 offer for a while, which was very beneficial as it allowed people to flood back into the game. Now, it was a limited time offer, which was kind of unfortunate because it forced people into the game for a specific period of time. And that is good as it forces people to act now, but kind of bad because if you've passed it, you're like, oh, now I don't want to go in anyways. I think it would have been smarter for them to just add it to any accounts that were already created or created during that time. That way, that even if you're an existing player who missed it, you have that when you come back to sort of jump right back into the game. I think that would be good. Now, I'm not just salty because I actually missed it myself while I was studying for tests. That's not what this is about, but I would have enjoyed it. I don't even know what class I would have gotten, but it's fun to think about. So this entire content patch is about progressing past level 50. It's about adding new levels of difficulty to Wildstar's already difficult content and giving players a sense of progression that really just builds on the existing content. And I think it's good that it builds onto the existing content. As we talked about at the start of this video, they have limited resources, so make the most of what you already have. For instance, Stormtalon's Lair is probably one of the most enjoyable dungeons I have ever done in any game. And making it more difficult, giving cool rewards, that's fine with me. I'd love to run it again and again and again and try and push it harder. So that's a very good thing for them to do. And I believe they have announced now that they are going to progress the system into raids and push those even further, which is an excellent idea. My big concern, though, is that if you have this many tiers of difficulty, you're going to really, have a divergent community, which is an issue because it's such a small community. In reality, you want a system like Guild Wars 2 where there's only one tier of armor, one tier of difficulty, and you'd have a very, small knit group of people, but they can all do the same thing. Like they're all doing the same thing. The issue with that, of course, is their progression. And quite frankly, the people who enjoy Wildstar PvE might not enjoy Guild Wars 2 PvE because of that. Now, I might be a bit of a lone wolf here, but I enjoy both games for what they offer. And as you can see on this channel, I do enjoy all the content. Hell, I just like playing MMORPGs that have a cool story, cool armor, cool skills. That's just me. But where was this whole rant video going? Well, what I'm saying is there was a new update for Wildstar. I've tried small parts of it, but I'm now really getting to dive into it, and you'll see more videos on that, especially the new dungeon. I'm pumped to play that, but I would feel responsible for our failures if I dived right in without getting the rust off some of my classes, so just give me a bit on that, but we'll get into those dungeons. It was about just telling you guys that, hey, there is a lot of people interested in Wildstar, so don't give up on it yet. Try to enjoy the new content they offered, and let's try and bring in some of these people who are just watching these videos, and just tell them, hey, the game's fun, I'm playing it right now. And I mean, there's not a lot you guys can do. Carbine has to really step up with some more promotions like that, but it looks like they're thinking about doing the right stuff, and I mean, you gotta respect that. And hey, may as well just enjoy it while the game's still putting out content. So I've been enjoying it. And I'll talk to you guys later about some of the new content. So Thank you for watching. I'm sorry this was such a rant video, but sometimes it's nice just to share my thoughts on the game while I'm playing it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.